We're back with a special edition of Making Fun of the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson came back to practice today. They opened up his 21-day window, so he's going to be back out there, at least on the sidelines soon. So we're going to watch his practice clips and talk some ball. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're back to watching practice clips, monitoring what these teams are doing on the practice field so you can see what your players are doing behind the scenes. We're keeping you in the loop on the Cleveland Browns as we're on Shedeur Sanders watch, Stefanski getting fired watch, the Hawaiian Leprechaun, and now we got to be on Deshaun Watson watch. So we're going to be busy digging up the news for you on these quarterbacks. Click that button. Stop missing out. But here we are. I didn't think we'd get there. I honestly didn't think we'd get here this year. Like, it just doesn't make sense. We're coming back from this injury, and you got the two rookies. You got two draft picks coming up in the first round. Honestly, I figured you'd want to see this through. And how do you interpret this? That is my main question. How do you interpret this? And what's your trust level with whatever they say about this when it comes to Stefanski, Shur? What's your trust level with this organization is what I'm seeing. Because they may make it out like, hey, we're getting the wheels greased up right here. And we're still going to see what we got in Shedeur. But this just muddies the water for me even more. Even more. Like, I'm just trying to make sense of it, and I'm just trying to figure it out like it's the JFK case right now. But he's back. He's back. We're back from an Achilles. And I get it. Everything's probably testing good and everything from a medical standpoint because I'm no doctor. Of course, I'm backwards hat guy on YouTube talking football all day. But he's back. He's back at practice. 21-day windows open. And usually, well, not always. We saw Trey Benson Thanksgiving week, practice Wednesday, not on Thursday, not this week, and out. So I guess that's not always the case, but we're back at practicing. There he is. There he is. So we got more to chew on now, and we thought Dylan Gabriel's girlfriend was enough. We thought that was enough. Now we got this. Like, back-to-back days. Dylan Gabriel's fiance on TikTok. Man, is Watson a Gabriel fan? Watson a Gabriel fan? Actually, Shedeur's with the ones. Shedeur's with the ones. You see Thrash right there. You got Zappy. Shedeur's over there doing his own thing. I'm just cutting jokes right now. What I'm really thinking about here is, like, if he's good to go to play out on the field, like, if he's good to go to playing games, somewhere down the line, the next 21 days, with Watson, and say, Shedeur's just playing all right even. Are they going to go to Watson? Like, say if they beat the Titans, they're still mathematically in it. And Stefanski wants to go Watson. Are they going to do that? Are they going to do that? Do you think they're going to do that? I don't know. I can't trust Stefanski. I saw what happened in training camp. I saw training camp. Do I think it's a good idea? No. I would push Shedeur. I would get him as many reps as possible. I'd push him. I'd open it up in game. I wouldn't be here trying to win it. I imagine I'd win games. I'd imagine he'd win us some games. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'd push it to the max, see what I had in him, considering he didn't do it during training camp. I would have pushed him in training camp. I would have had the battle between him and Gabriel. It made so much sense. Going in that you didn't do that. I'd be pushing Shedeur, see what I had. I already know what I got in Gabriel, and he's not a starter. He's not a franchise quarterback. We already know that. And we're seeing some promise. We're seeing some development from game to game to game here with Shedeur. I want to see this through. You got a matchup here with the Titans. That's very interesting. I know the fan, I think it's that Tony guy, try to downplay that Bears matchup, but I think that could be actually advantageous for Shedeur as well. I've been looking at Bears numbers every single week here for fantasy. There's some spots here where that matchup could be advantageous for Shedeur. I think we could open it up here. And if I remember right, we got Steelers-Browns still on the docket, so we got some defenses where we can exploit. I think we can get down the stretch here, and if we open it up with Shedeur, you'll get a good look of whether or not you want him for your franchise quarterback going forward. And now you got to make the case for your draft pick, whether you do or don't. But if you throw this in the mix and put the kibosh on it too premature, that ain't going to be good. That ain't going to be good for building this franchise. We pretty much know what we got with Deshaun Watson. What if he re-injures himself? That's another thing. Like, we're good right now. We're good right now. What if he re-injures himself? And he's taking up like a quarter of your cap space. He's a quarter of your cap space. Another thing, if you're feeling good, Watson, you want to roll Watson another year and just attack the draft in 2027, why don't you use your picks to build with this year? There's just so many other question marks here that you can do with this team. I think it all just circles around Shedeur right now. Like, he's showing some promise. I know, like, a lot of people don't watch the Browns. They didn't watch last game. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people have opinions on Shedeur, and they didn't watch the last game. He showed some improvement. He showed some good things. Deshaun Watson cutting up jokes. Like, my honest opinion, and you already know this. You can look at all the thumbnails. You already know this. You got to see what you got in Shedeur. You need to know the good or the bad. You need to know. You need to get that car out of the garage and out of the driveway. You kind of got out of the garage. You got onto the driveway. Now you got to drive it. You ain't driving it yet. You got to push it. You're cramming every week to get him ready. And I know Stefanski wants him out. If Stefanski put out Watson right now, he would. He would. You know why I know that? You know why I think that? I mean, we watched camp. We watched practice reps and what they were doing in camp. You know he's not here for development. You know this. You know this. He didn't even have a competition with the rookies. With the context of Shedeur. And I don't know what the hell they were thinking about drafting Gabriel in the 3rd round. I don't know. But if he can make it easier on himself to get a quarterback that already knows the offense, and they just game script from there going into the week, he's going to roll with it instead of pushing development to get a player better. Even if the player's more talented, has a lot of upside, deep ball, all this. Because that's what he did with Gabriel. That Big Browns dubbed as a supercomputer. Big draft didn't. Now you got Deshaun Watson coming back after an Achilles. They're going to say this, that, or whatever. They're going to say that. They're not going to give you honesty. Hopefully Watson comes back as a breath of fresh air for these young quarterbacks. Gives them something to learn from. Hopefully he's there to help Shedeur. I think he can help Shedeur. But you definitely know he wants out there. That's the thing. Like, he doesn't have to be out there right now. He wants out. You ain't out there if you don't want out there. When his circumstances, his context, he's got to get out there because there's 2 first-round picks. There's a chance they draft another quarterback. There's a chance Shedeur lights it up. There's a chance that all this happens and you're out there on the sideline. He wants out there. Like, he wants his cut. You're not going to get the good, bad, or ugly from him right now. This is his first practice back. He's getting the wheels greased up. That's what you're seeing right here. That's what you're seeing right here with Deshaun Watson. You're not going to get all the practice. You're getting the warm-ups. That's what you're going to get. So you're not going to get the in-depth practice highlights in season. You'll get that more in training camp, minicamp, and OTAs. You'll get more from the Browns than you will almost any other franchise. Unless they clean house and they decide, like, hey, we got to stop doing this. Guys like Bruce is just going to talk it up. They're going to create controversies on the internet. We don't want this anymore. We're going to just do it a little bit lighter. We're not going to give these beat writers all this access. They're going to start keeping stats tracked and everything else. We can't have this again. That could happen. That would be our fear. Because that opened up a lot to us. Opened up a lot of can of worms with his coaching staff. And if that didn't happen, maybe I wouldn't be as nervous. I don't know. This muddies the water, and I feel like you need to know what you got in Shedeur. You need to know what you got in Shedeur. I don't trust a word that comes out of anybody's mouth with this team. That is my analysis. That's my thoughts. That's how I feel. I don't trust anything this team says. I don't trust anything this team says. Economically, spreadsheet football wise, numbers wise, analytic wise, it's all Shedeur, and see what you got in him before you look at those draft picks. You also look at Watson. He could be a bridge for that next quarterback if you go that route. You need to know. You need to know. Oh, my goodness. We're watching Watson, Gabriel. We know Shedeur's there. After having Pickett and Flacco. And we got Zappy. What kind of mess this team is? What kind of mess? They have no wide receivers. I'm not counting Jerry Jeudy. Their offensive line. And the offensive line's banged up. What are we expecting with this team? What are we expecting? Still on Shedeur Sanders' watch, though. That's who we're watching. They need to roll with that. I think we're watching Deshaun Watson. We're watching the reports some more. We're going to see what they say. Deshaun Watson's back, guys. Deshaun Watson's back. And the soap opera of the Cleveland Browns is going to continue. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.